Hello, everyone. I'm John Clarence Gomez, and I'm your host today for the John Clarence Gomez Show. And can you introduce, and I will introduce to you my co-host today, Joe. Joe, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Joe.
Yes, she is Joe. She is my friend from the UK. Uh,
Hi, Joe.
okay. Yes.
Hi.
Hi. Uh, welcome to my podcast. And my guest today is Taryn Sudding, a South African actress who is based in the United Kingdom.
Hi, everyone.
Uh,
Hi,
I
John.
remember her appearing in it, like
Hi.
the Cats, yes, hello, like the Cats the musical, and where she played as Bombalurina, and and she also appeared in Sound of Music. And hi Taryn, can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi, yes, of course. Hi, John Clarence, and hi, Joe. It's so lovely to be with you both. I'm sorry I couldn't get my camera to work.
It's
Um,
fine.
it's lovely to be here, and thank you for inviting me. It's very exciting. I'm a musical theatre performer. I was born in Zimbabwe and started dancing at the age of 4, and then did lots of amateur theatre growing up in Port Elizabeth. And then ventured into the world of being a professional musical theatre performer at the age of 17 in my final year of school. I asked my mom if I could audition for Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, and so I was cast as the youngest bride, Alice, and I continued my examination journey with having to finish school and performing the show at the same time. So it was quite a start to the to my career, but it was a very blessed start. I think I just went from one show into another, as you say. One of my highlights being Cats, playing Bombalurina, and then I did a 3-year international tour of the Sound of Music, playing the Baroness. So um, I've had a very blessed career, and then I ended up in London in 2017, and it's just also been a wonderful journey and lots of um, exquisitely talented people that I get to perform with. So I'm very, very lucky.
Joy, your turn. Yes, Joe
How
will
do
ask
you
you.
how do you become an actress and who inspired you to choose this career?
Oh, Joe, that would be my mum. So growing up in Zimbabwe, my sister Haiti and my mom used to sit in front of the TV and we'd watch all the musicals. So the Seven Brides, Seven Brothers, and West Side Story, and Oklahoma, and we grew up on all of that. So I think my mom's dream was to be a an actress or a dancing teacher, and I became the actress, and my sister became the dancing teacher. So it was very much um, introduced through my mom's passion. And then we attended lessons. So we did ballet, modern, and tap classes, as I say, from the age of 4. And then I just learned performing and being in shows, being supporting stars like Judy Page, playing leading roles in Mame and Hello Dolly, and my sister Haiti and I being in the ensemble and being the dancers. And so we kind of learned on the job, so to speak.
What is the first musical you did in South Africa?
Um, Annie. I played July. I played an orphan in Annie in I think I was in standard 4, so I would have been about 12. And then I went on to perform in Annie on 3 other occasions. I in my sort of early 20s in Cape Town, I was in the ensemble and was one of the Boyden sisters. And then a few years later, I played Grace Farrell in Johannesburg. And then in 2016, I think it was, I played Grace again in a Johannesburg production and a Cape Town production with Nick Winston as our director, who is UK based. But yeah, it was Annie. I was July, the tapping orphan.
I know that there are many South African productions touring in the world, like in Asia, for example. What
Yes.
is the experience in traveling the world for a musical show?
Well, I think when you travel with big companies, say for instance, when I traveled with the Really Useful Group, you're very well looked after. You stay in wonderful hotels. The venues that you get to perform in are vastly different to, I suppose, what you're used to back in South Africa. We went to 11 cities in China on the tour of the Sound of Music. And so you get to experience the culture, the audiences. I think certainly also doing Cats, the first time we did Cats in Beirut in Lebanon was the first time that Cats had been done in the open air. So it was in the valley of Beit Din. Um, and we'd be on stage and we'd look out at the valley and the mist would settle onto the stage and we would sort of end up slipping and sliding and having to bring the kittens onto the stage to wipe the floor so that we didn't do Cats on ice. So we've had some, really special experiences that we would never have had just performing in a theatre in South Africa. The people, the culture, how welcoming they are when you come to their countries, learning about their cultures. It's a very beautiful thing to do what you love and to explore a new environment.
How did you move to the UK and what is the first musical you did there?
Yeah. Um, John Clarence, I moved to the UK probably at the height of my career in South Africa. I'd just been nominated for an award for my role as Grace Farrell in Annie. And I just felt the universe was pushing me out of South Africa, and I was always wanting to move to London, and it was just the right time. So I came with very little. I gave pretty much everything up, and I arrived with suitcases and started over from scratch. I became a telephone fundraiser, and I worked with children with autism in schools as a teaching assistant. And then my agent got me an audition for the role of Desiree in A Little Night Music. And I never thought I would get a leading role straight away. I said to him, I'm very happy to be in the ensemble. I had two auditions. The second audition, I had to sing Send in the Clowns, and the director's dog was literally on my lap while I was singing. So I thought, I'm definitely not going to get this job. And I ended up getting it. So it was basically playing Desiree in A Little Night Music in Frenton-on-Sea.
Aside from musical theatres, you also do acting on screen, like on films and TV. What movies and TV shows did you do when you were in South Africa and even here in the UK?
So back in South Africa, I'm wondering what the first thing was that I did. The biggest television series that I did was playing Merle in a production called Snitch for Mnet. That was a lot of fun. That was a really interesting character. I was also a television presenter for a children's show called Kidio. It was a really popular children's show. I would say that's also one of the highlights. I was there for 4 years presenting as myself, as Taryn. I did a comedy film with Leon Schuster, who is a very, very loved comedian in South Africa. That was my first film. Nothing in the UK. It's just been musical theatre here, really. But I had one or two things. I had a short film that I did in Light of Ears. Um, yeah, a few things here and there. Mostly musical theatre, though.
You had a business called Cool Minds. Can you tell us about that to our listener?
Oh, God, you do your research. Um, yeah, John, I started Cool Minds in lockdown. So I had a journey with breast cancer, and I was recovering from chemotherapy during lockdown, and I meditate, so I was having these sort of 3 o'clock in the morning meditations, and during the meditations, I was getting all sorts of ideas. I would say downloads of some sort of kind of exercises, and so I started putting Cool Minds together from my meditations, which is very much based on mindfulness and creativity. So it's a combination of mindfulness and creativity. And it's a way to help. At the time, I wanted to help young children, but I actually ended up having a really lovely adult client who I worked with. And so it's using symbols and affirmations and mindfulness exercises and breathing. It's an incredibly creative process, and it very much works with whoever I'm working with. Whatever they give me, I do a lot of research around what they're needing from me. So it's quite a bespoke journey that I offer. And it was very much sort of guided to me, I think. My website I came up with myself. I was just on fire. Had notes everywhere, all over my room. They were just notes as I was creating the website. So I've created some merchandise from the doodle, because the actual logo of the company is my own doodle that I did. So it's doodling. It's basically anyone could doodle, so you don't have to be an artist to work with Cool Minds. It brings out the artist in you. That makes sense.
As a person from the United Kingdom, why did you choose my country to work as an actress, and what opportunities you see here in the UK?
Joe, I've visited London for the first time in 2001, and when I arrived, I felt like I had come home. I knew my way around London. I'd had someone say to me, "You've lived many lives in London. It's no wonder that you know your way around." So I've London for me feels like home. I visited it on, I think, 3 or 4 occasions before I actually moved here. So it's been a dream of mine to live and work in the UK. And in terms of what it has to offer, it's offered me more than I could ever have imagined, because I'm quite open to not only working as an actor, but to also be useful in other areas. So my work as a teaching assistant with children with autism kind of led me down a path where I wondered whether I would actually give up my acting career to just do that. So London has offered many opportunities, also just to be introduced into a new community of performers who've been working hard at their craft with different experiences and backgrounds. So it's grown me in many ways, not only as an actor, if that makes sense.
Can you tell us about your new 2 books titled Alphabet of Survival and Healing Journal?
Yeah, sure. So I during lockdown I wrote in 2020 I wrote it's sort of my A to Z guide on how I was experiencing my journey through cancer and how I had applied certain principles to overcome um various things like treatments and fears. And it's called The Alphabet of Survival. It's a little green book. I'm holding it in my hands. And I'll open a section just to give you an idea. So I've opened it to P, and P is I said, pace yourself, be patient, persevere through it all, find peace in every moment of the day, manage your pain, stay positive, and prayer or presence. So hopefully that gives you an idea. And then I obviously elaborate on all the things that I did on my journey to offer support to anybody who's going through a severe illness. And then the other little book is the Healing Journal. And while I was going through all of the treatments and various things, I had a diary that was documenting all of my appointments, and there were sort of many. And then I had a separate journal where I was researching diet and various things. So what I've done with the Healing Journal is I've put everything all in one book. So you open the book, and there's a place to write your diagnosis and the date and the time and the place and your reaction and who the medical teams are and the contact details. And then there's appointments and the changes that take place to your body and what your action plan may be, your eating plan, your exercise routines, tracking your emotions, because it's a very emotional journey, the gratitude list. So it's all in one book. So those are the 2 books, The Healing Journal and The Alphabet of Survival.
Where can they buy these books?
I just launched them last week, Joe. So they're on Amazon, and then also on it's nice to support another platform, a slightly smaller platform. So Lulu, I think Lulu is an American platform. So they're currently on Lulu and on Amazon. And so I had a lot of questions. If you go onto my Instagram page, I will actually post in the next day or so the QR codes again, because I think people have missed them. But you can just go onto my Instagram page, which is Taryn Sudding, and you can scan the QR code, or you can literally just type in my name into Amazon, and both the books will come up on the author's page.
Can you give a little advice to those people who want to become a musical theater actress like you?
Oh. I would say never give up on your dreams. I think a lot of performers feel like it's a calling. For me, it was just the biggest part of my expression from childhood. I was always performing and dressing up and playing around, and so I think it's a wonderful way to creatively engage with the world and to express yourself. And so if you offered opportunities to do that are not professional, I would take those opportunities up. But I would also have other things to fall back on, if that makes sense. So other passions, other skills that you can also partake in. So when there are moments in your career where it's dry and there's not much happening, you have something else to fall back on.
Uh, I thank you for that's the last question, Taryn. And I want to say that thank you for guesting to my podcast, Taryn. And I had nice chat with you tonight.
Bless you, John. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you inviting me. And thank you, Joe. Lovely to meet you both.
You
Oh,
too.
also, I want to tell you about my new co-host here, Joe, because for the first time, this is the first episode of my podcast that I had a co-host with my friend, Joe.
That's
I want to tell you that,
lovely.
yes, I want to tell you that Joe is not just an ordinary person. She is a talented amateur actress too. Uh, Last Saturday, uh, me and Joe participate in a virtual amateur table with of the Phantom of the Opera. I played the role of Lefebvre and Joe played the role of Christine. Joe did a great job there. She played the role of Christine and sing many songs there from the Phantom of the Opera. She is a great.
That's thrilling. I'm so glad. It's very, very exciting to know that. And I'll have to look you up, Joe, and follow you and support you both.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you. Thank you so much again.
Okay, good night. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
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 Yes, thank you.
Thank you, John. Bye.
Yes, bye.